Hello and welcome to my second review of Black Clover. This review will cover the Royal Knights selection exam, or essentially the first half of the Royal Knights arc. The Royal Knights selection is an arc I was not too excited to reread, however, I am very glad that I did. This arc actually does quite a lot for the narrative, and it's not just a tournament arc. Now, by far the most captivating part of this arc, in my opinion, is Zora. Zora, while not the most important or popular character in the story, really steals the show for this arc in particular. He has such a cold personality, as well as an air of mystery around him that makes his character so captivating. From his personality, how he uses his magic to fight, his backstory, his design, Zora really is a true favorite of mine, and he shines the most in this arc, and I think this is the best his character is. Now, moving forward, Noel versus Solid was a really big highlight of this arc. Before they fight, I do really appreciate Yuno putting his trust in Noel. Now, Noel versus Solid was both a fantastic moment for the story, as well as for Noel's character. She slams Sea Dragon's roar into him, sending him flying as she declares she is not weak anymore. And it really is just a wonderful scene. I think this scene is a great example of how Noelle is a well written and strong female character. She has great development by this part in the story, and I would say this scene adds to the ever growing tower of building blocks with her character's development throughout the narrative. I personally find Noelle to be a great example of a well written and powerful female character, much better than a lot of characters in Marvel and other films that I see these days. Finral versus Longoris is another stellar fight to come out of this arc. The backstory for these two is honestly a lot better than I remembered it being. I really like Finral's motivation with wanting to defeat his brother but not hurt him. And their final clash with spatial magic was quite a sight to behold. And in my opinion, the ending was beautifully tragic with Finral actually losing. Then, as Longris moves in for the kill, we get one of the coldest scenes in Black Clover, with the Black Bulls pulling up on Longris. This scene, it was so much fun to reread, and I loved getting to see everyone's unquestionable loyalty to Finral and jumping in to protect him. Then we further escalate this with Julius coming down to take control of the scene, followed by Asta blocking Longris's attack and Julius bringing up that there is no one to say start or stop in real combat. And then, of course, this scene is stopped with Julius literally hitting the pause button on these two. Now, the next fight is easily my favorite part of this tournament, and there's a lot of great things to come out of this fight, starting with Zora's backstory. Zora's father, for the short time he was featured, seemed like a very loving and inspirational father, and I even forgot about the doll that he made Zora. This doll would actually be the influence for Zora's design in the current story. And on top of his father's influence and his father's death, this would influence his ideology and how he views magic knights. Now, one aspect of this backstory that I did really enjoy is seeing how realistic the magic knights are in the world of Black Clover. Not all of them are gonna be good people, and some of them will definitely abuse their power. And this is really given a horrific example with the grandmother and the implication of what happened to her granddaughter. These are horrible people, and they are definitely not the magic knights of his father's dreams. Now, I do love the scene of the trap spell being cast on Zora's body, subverting everyone's expectations and reflecting Longris's spatial magic, giving his monologue about how he was in a peasant village and how he is hopeless rage incarnate. Of course, this scene seamlessly transitions to Asta versus Longris, with Asta giving one of my favorite speeches in Black Clover. He speaks about how the royals were born special, and he looked up to them, but they shouldn't unfairly take things away. They are special, and the rest of them got stronger so they can protect everyone together, so they could help each other improve and fight together. Which would further lead to Asta using Black Meteorite to one-shot Longris and the Crystal. And we actually end this with a scene that I also really enjoy, and that is Zora's criticism of everyone on the battlefield, including himself. Now, Asta's speech here it's a fantastic speech. I think it adds a lot to his character. It's probably one of my earliest favorite moments from Asta. And this speech is part of the reason why I would say Asta is different to me from other shonen protagonists, and why, personally, I like Asta more than a lot of other shonen protagonists. Now, this fight also does a lot for Zora. We get the full scope of his character, his backstory, how he views everyone, and you can even see that there are some parallels between Zora's father and Asta, how they speak, how they act, some of their ideologies. And I think this is why Zora would be much more trusting of Asta later on, and why he would even work well with him later on in the Royal Knights arc and the Elf Reincarnation arc. Now, the final match featured something that left me astonished the first time I had read the story. And that is Yuno activating Spirit Dive for the first time. This is a great scene for Yuno because we learn that he was training to surpass Asta, and he actually planned to use it in this exam. However, he did only end up clashing with the brigade captain in the end. And in this arc, we do get some more great content with Zora, and I really like his conversation with Julius, learning about the creation of the star system, as well as just how much Julius knows. And another aspect of this conversation that I have quite a fondness for is Julius's demeanor. He almost acts like a father to all the Magic Knights, and that is something that I really love about his character. Overall, I'm honestly not a fan of tournament arcs. I usually dislike them, actually. But I had quite a blast with this one, and I don't think it's a stretch at all to say this is one of my favorite tournament arcs in manga. I was engaged with every single match to some degree, and Tabata did not slog through the matches after Asta versus Longris, which is something that I really appreciate. Zora is by far the best part of this arc, and he really elevates it for me. I love his back and forth with Asta, on top of his backstory, and his resolution with the reveal that he's actually a member of the Black Bulls. Now, I honestly don't have any major criticisms to point out with this arc. I didn't feel like it was a waste of time, and I even like that some of the roles of tertiary characters in this arc would go on to play actually tertiary or secondary minor antagonist roles in the Elf Reincarnation arc. That being said, this is not one of my favorite arcs in Black Clover. However, Asta versus Lungris is a high point for me in the series. That's going to be all for me today. I'll see you guys in the next Black Clover video. Bye, guys.